Hi guys, how you going? Diamond Duchess here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. As always, welcome. This is the first Whip and Chat I have done in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. Just because I've been away backwards and forwards with Dad and his chemo. And now I'm waiting for something to interrupt me because nothing ever works out on this channel. Okay, what's been happening? Where do I start? We went away for Dad's scan. Oh, look. Like I said, nothing ever works. Went away for Dad's scan. Turns out it wasn't the best results. Unfortunately, the chemo tablets that he'd been taking were not helping at all. They might have been helping a little bit, but not as much as we needed them to. So they've taken him off them, and they've got him back on an intravene chemo, which is the drip one. So he has to learn to talk. He has to have that once in every 3 weeks. So that takes about an hour and a half. So by the time you get to the hospital, they put the drip system in, and they set everything up, and they do the saline solution-y thing and get the chemo all in and sorted, and then flush it. We're about there for about 2.5 hours. It's just the chemo itself that takes. Now, I just had a drill that I dropped. Where did I drop that? I don't know. Yeah, so just the chemo itself that takes an hour and a half. So, yes. So we stayed at the Cancer Council apartments, as always. Went down there a couple of weeks ago, and we were down there for a whole week. Before we left, it was a big... Oh, look, I had an anxiety attack. We could not find a lift from the airport to the room. I was worried it was going to cost too much if we got a taxi, which it didn't. It only cost about $16 something. From the airport to the taxi, we ended up, airport to the room, sorry. We ended up just getting a taxi. But usually a friend of mine picks us up, and he wasn't in town, and family, they had their little boy having an operation that day, so they were flat out with him, which is all right. That's, you know, they've got their own things. So yeah, so we ended up just getting a cab, and then we couldn't get a lift to the hospital the following day. It was just a big... Yeah, but we sorted it all out in the end. We got there. Few tears on my behalf. Me going, I'm not going. And then actually knowing I had to go, so... Or otherwise Dad wasn't going to go. But, funny story though. Oh, look. I'm shaking really bad today for some reason. I don't know whether it's just because I'm not used to being in front of the camera again. Well, behind the camera. And I'm just shaking really bad. Or whether it's because I've just put my nails back on. Not the best nail job, but better than how they were looking. Because over the past couple of weeks. I haven't had my false nails on, and I've been stressing and chewing my natural nails, and they just look yuck. And I'm all nice and long, and then all this stuff happened, and yeah. But funny story, we get to the airport when we were going down for the week trip, which was the last time I think I did a Whip and Chat was before we'd left then. And so I'm stressing out about lifts and trying to get from point A to point B and all that good stuff. And Mum takes us up to the airport, which is fine. And I get out of the car, Dad gets out of the car, Mum stays in the car because it's just easy for her, and she just drops us at the front door. So that was all fine. And then Mum and Dad, both their mobile phones are the ones that I think they're designed for like older people, and they have the little button on the back of the phone. Dad's is a flip phone, but it has a little button on the back it says SOS, just meaning that it's for an emergency. It will ring, if you press that button, it rings straight through to 000 or wherever it goes. I've got a feeling it was 911 it rang. I don't know, I hope it wasn't. But anyway, Dad's getting his suitcase out of the boot, and I'm like, do you want a hand? He's like, no, I got it. Okay. Anyway, his phone starts making this loud buzzing siren-y noise. I'm like, that's your phone. And he's like, is it? And I'm like, yeah. And he's holding it while he's trying to hold his walking stick. And anyway, he gets his suitcase out, and we say goodbye to Mum, start walking into the airport, and I'm hearing this little voice, like someone's on the phone to someone, and you can hear that person on the other end of the phone talking. And I'm like, and there was no one else near us. And I'm like, that's got to be Dad's phone. And I went, who have you rang? He went, what? He said, I haven't touched anything. I went, give me your phone. He must have hit that button and it had rung through to emergency services. Anyway, I open the phone and I'm like, hello? And she's like, yes, would you like fire, police or ambulance? And I'm like, oh my God. She's like, are you okay, man? And I'm like, I'm fine. No emergency. Don't worry about it. I said, Dad's just hit a button on his phone. And she's like, oh, so there's no emergency? And I went, no, sorry, false alarm. She went, that's okay, have a nice day. She was great. Anyway, said to Dad, I said, that would have been great sitting at the airport, bloody all emergency services show up. That would have been just great. Me having an anxiety attack already and then they show up, that would have been fun. Now, that one is what I want. So we're still working on, look, this Whip and Chat's going to be all over the place, okay? Just random. We're still working on Randall Spangler from Diamond Art Club, Firefly Fireworks. So yeah. So that was all good. We get to the room, and we go in, and we'd stayed in this particular room before when we were at the Cairns Council apartments, and Dad comes in, and because of the chemo, Dad's got what they call chemo brain, and it's very much like, well, I can't say very much because I'm not too sure, but what I would imagine it's like to have Alzheimer's. He doesn't revert back to a different time period in his mind or anything like that, but he gets very confused easily, forgets a lot of things that are simple and he shouldn't be forgetting. But anyway, we get into the room and that, and he's like, oh, this is the one we were in once before. And I went, yep. I said, the first time we stayed at the Cancer Council apartments, I said, this is the same room. And that was all good. He was happy with that because we like staying there. The ladies there are just absolutely brilliant. Everybody that's there is just brilliant. And the facility itself is upkept amazingly. But yeah, so Dad walks in, and Dad being Dad, he's got to go around and check all the fans out and the remote controls and the TV control and, you know, turn everything on. He can't just walk in and sit. Me, I just walk in, as long as I've got a can of Coke or something, I'm fine, I will just sit. Anyway, I'm sitting at the table and Dad walks back out of the bedroom that he said was his, and he's like, I'll take this room. Oh, yep, okay. So he takes his suitcase in and he comes back out and he sits down at the table and he goes, wasn't this table facing the other way last time we were here? And I'm like, no. He's like, I think it was. And I went, no, Dad, it wasn't. It was always like this. No, it was against that wall. I'm like, Dad, no, it wasn't. And I know for a fact that it wasn't. Because the last time we stayed in that room, we had trouble getting in and out of the fridge because the dining table was so close. It wasn't a problem, but just because it's a limited, it's not very spacious. It's not cramped, but just it's a 4-person table, and it just sort of, for a bigger person, I have trouble, okay? Anyway, Dad's sitting there, he went, no, it was against that wall. I said, Dad, it was not against that wall. I said, trust me. I said, it's fine. He argued with me. Now that's all good and fine. I've got the patience, you know, I can understand that in his mind, yep, okay, that table was against that wall. And I'm like, okay, Dad. I said, look, table wasn't there, but it doesn't matter. And anyway, he gets up. He gets up and he goes to walk outside. Now, we've got 2 doors in and out. One that goes out onto our little veranda area. And there's a little balcony there. And the other one that is our main entrance. Like, if you walk out the veranda door, you can't walk off anywhere because of the railings. There's no access to the outside. Anyway, Dad gets up and he walks over towards the veranda balcony. Now, mind you, these doors are in completely opposite sides of the room. And Dad's pointed at the veranda door, to the balcony door, and the curtains are open. He could see the railing. And he points at it and he goes, that's the door we came in, isn't it? And I've just looked at him and I went, and you were going to argue with me over the position of where the dining table was? He went, what? I said, that's the veranda door, Dad. And he walked out and he went, oh, okay. I'm like, please just sit down. I said, you are not, because every morning usually when we're away getting treatment or something, at the beginning he would get up early in the morning, as he always does, and he would go for a walk. he's not a man to sit down and relax. He will get up, he will move around, he will fiddle, he will do whatever he can to move. And I said to him, I said, you are not going for your morning walks while we are here this time. Why not? I'm like, you were just about to leave through the veranda door, Dad. No, it's not happening. He got a laugh out of it. But yeah, just the fact he's going, no, that table wasn't there. And then he turned around and he goes, what door did we come in? I'm like, yeah, good one, Dad. But that first time we went away, that was just for a scan. So we had that. And like I said, blood work came back, scan came back, and the result wasn't the best. And so we're sitting there and Dad starts stressing and I'm like, it's okay, we've still got options. And I sort of prepared myself in my mind that, because we are going to get to that conversation where we're out of options and there's nothing left to do. And so that's okay. I'm focused on cheering Dad up. And we get back to the room. Oh no, it was before that. It was after he had his scan. We got back to the room and we were walking in. And before we'd left, we'd noticed signs around the property saying about these monitor lizards. Now, if you don't know what a monitor lizard is, it's like a goanna, but just not as big. Though still fairly big, though they could reach a good metre in length. They're pretty big. They'd do some damage if you tried to cuddle one anyway. And anyway, we come back from his scan and we're walking up towards the room and suddenly I stop. Now, these things don't worry me, but I stopped dead in my tracks and I've just gone, Dad's like, what? I don't know what he was going to do, but he lifted his walking stick like he was going to hit something. And here's this monitor lizard. It looked like a young one. It wasn't overly big, probably 1/2 metre long, maybe a little bit bigger. And I've just gone, it's beautiful. And Dad's gone, what is? And because he was behind me. And he's walked up around beside me. And he's gone, oh. I'm like talking to this bloody lizard like it's a baby. I'm like, hello, darling. Aren't you beautiful? I thought, I need a photo. Went to go for my camera, or my phone. Bloody thing took off into the bushes. Didn't see it again, did I? So every time we stayed there from then on, every time I walked outside, I'm looking for these lizards. I thought, I want to make friends with one. Dad seen it again one morning when he was out having his morning coffee. Didn't come and wake me up, no. But anyway. So yeah. So I've told you about the results. So he went back about a week later for his next round of intravenous chemo, which he hasn't had since before Christmas because it made him pretty crook. But they've given him a different one that is supposed to be a little bit gentler. But it's given him the hiccups. And I don't just mean the hiccups every now and then. I mean 24/7 hiccups. This man does not shut up. It is driving my mother insane at the moment because we got back last Thursday. Was it last Thursday we got back? From him having his chemo. And all he has done basically is hiccup. He might stop for 10 minutes to a half an hour here and there, but then they just come straight back. Once he falls asleep, Dad said to me, I said, are you right sleeping? And he's like, oh, once I get to sleep, I'm right. Mum said, no, they get louder. So I don't think Dad realises he's doing it in his sleep. Obviously, it's not worrying him. But we've gotten onto the cancer nurse and she's trying to sort out something because there's not really anything that we've been told that we can give him. And, you know, like your home remedies like holding your breath and all that. The only thing that seems to work is a teaspoon of sugar or a shot of straight red cordial. And if he just sips it, not like shot straight all in one go. So, but I said to Dad, I said, how long does that work for? He said, oh, it'll stop him for about half an hour. I said, right, well, don't do that all the time. He went, why not? I said, because you'll end up on dialysis, Dick. Oh, Lord. Yeah, Dad, just keep shotting that sugar. You'll be right and bounce off Mum's walls. Mum said, they really are the typical old married couple, my parents, because God love them. Dad, for years it has been like this. Dad thinks Mum's out to get him and does things just to annoy him, and Mum thinks the same about Dad. He will go and dig up a garden bed or something like that, thinking he's helping Mum. Mum will go, oh, he did that deliberately. He knew I didn't want that garden bed dug up. And I'm like, have you tried telling him? Oh, he doesn't listen. I'm like, for God's sake. And then even when me and my partner, when me and Barry are over there for like dinner or barbecue or something, you know, Dad will be cooking the barbecue and me and Mum will be talking and Dad will hear his name mentioned or something and he'll go, what was that? And Mum's like, nothing. Oh, talking about a fellow who can't do anything right. I'm like, we weren't even saying anything bad. Oh, God. But Mum said that now he's back on this chemo. He's walking around and he's mumbling to himself and oh, I don't know, can't do anything. And he'll get around talking to the doc. I don't know, Gracie, another day. Sitting down doing nothing. It's like, you can do stuff, Dad. And he feels well enough. It's just that his eyesight's not the best. I do my own thing over here, so he can't come over here all the time. Mum's always on the go doing something. Like, she likes her house spotless. She always has. She's always loved cleaning. Don't understand that one. Because I'm nothing like that. But, so he sits down in the undercover area that they've got out the back. We call it a carport because that's what it was originally designed as, but the cars never go in there. They've got the barbecue down there and Mum's got all her plants and it's all open. It's just pretty much a roof off the side of the house. So Dad sits down there and he'll do his puzzles, his jigsaw puzzles. He'll build... Remember when... I don't know about anybody else, but when I was younger, you could get the dinosaurs made out of wood. And it was like their skeleton and you had to put them together. Well, he does them. You can get them in like cars and things like that now too. So, you know, other animals and things like that. So, he does a few of them. He likes doing them. When we were away, we went into Spotlight and he picked a few out and I got them for him. And so that was all good and fine. So he sits down in the carport doing them. He likes reading, but like I said, eyesight's not the best. But there's only so much reading he can take. He runs out of books pretty quick. He's got his own library card, but he just, I don't think he really likes going down there too much. And there's people around town he can go and see, but I think he's a bit like me in that aspect. He doesn't want to be around too many other people. I think he'd feel out of place, like he's bothering them. So yeah. So now we get all the chemo done here in Longreach, which is good. We don't have to go away, or shouldn't have to go away anymore. All his scans from now on will be done here, I hope. So no more plane trips for me. Yay! So that's a bonus. I'm just trying to... I should have been keeping notes over the past couple of weeks on things I was going to tell yous. Because now I'm sitting here and I'm like, what was I going to tell yous all? There were different things that happened and funny things and stories, and I can't remember any of them. I'll turn the camera off and I'll be like, that's what I was going to say. Isn't that always the way? So I'll just sit here and jibber jabber with you. Hope everyone's doing well. We're almost onto the dragon with this one too. So another couple of days and I should be onto the dragon. He is right there. So... we had our show the other week, last weekend. For anyone that's not following me on Instagram or Facebook, I'm not on Facebook as the Diamond Duchess. I've just got my personal account on there. But Instagram is Diamond Duchess if you want to pop over and check that one out. I put some crafty goodies in the show, in the pavilion, to see how I go with it all. And I got, I think it was 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and 2 thirds that I got at the show, which was pretty good. I'm happy with that. No prize money or anything like that. There was one little prize that I'd won, which was a little china teacup and saucer. They call it a trophy, but it's donated. Different prizes are donated from businesses around town, and our show was not the best. To be honest, this year it was very quiet. I don't know whether it's because of the whole COVID thing, but there were not a lot of stalls, there were not a lot of rides, and even the pavilion, like usually a lot of people will put stuff in the pavilion, it was like 50% of what they usually have. They, because I know the girls in the pavilion that set it all up, well, I know 2 of them, they actually asked if I had any extra crafts or art that I could put in the show just as display, because I had some drawings and stuff from a few years back, but they'd already won prizes, so I couldn't actually enter them into the show. But they said if I wanted to put them in as a display, that was fine. So that's what I did, just so they had something to fill room. So I put quite a few diamond paintings in. I think I had 2, 4, 6, 7. I think I put 7 in. I had a couple of Randall Spangler. I had Polani from Diamond Art Club. I had a couple from AliExpress. So yeah. But yeah, it'd be nice to see more people put more stuff into the pavilion. A lot of people don't because they think that the judging's unfair, or it's just that we don't have professional judges. Like, they got me to judge the children's art section because I'm a graphite artist. They were going to get me to judge the adult artwork instead, but I couldn't because I had actually entered that, so with my paint pours. So I couldn't judge the adult art section, so they had me judge the kids section. I've never had a problem with the judging outcomes, even when I don't win, which, to be honest, isn't very often. I can't remember the last time I didn't get anything at all. So, yeah. Oh, excuse me. But we had the monster trucks at the show, and we had the, what would you call it? Like the jetpack? Water jetpack? People at the show. But even around the sideshow, we had one show bag stand, and they were dear enough. We had the cha-cha or crazy dance, whatever you want to call it, where you sit down, they spin you around in all different directions. The Dodgem cars, and the Ferris wheel. And then we had, like, there wasn't even a shooting gallery. You know how you shoot the ducks that go round? Yeah. Didn't even have one of them. So that was pretty dismal. I had a go at the clowns, where you put the ball in the clown's mouth and try and win a prize. See what numbers you can come up with. I won little stickers or something like that. I don't know. I gave it to my friend's daughter. So, yes. What else has been happening? Almost got a puppy the other day. Let me tell you about my puppy. So, Barry's gone away to work. Barry left Tuesday. Today's Wednesday. No, today's Thursday. Holy crap, today's Thursday. So Barry left Tuesday, and it was Monday night. I'd seen this puppy on Facebook for sale. And I thought, okay, well, we're looking for another dog, because one of ours she's starting to have a few health issues. And we're just worried, you know, we're going to have to part with her soon. When I say soon, I mean like the next year or two. And because she's such a good dog, we want to get another puppy before we lose her, so it can learn from her in her ways and pick up her little traits and, you know, and so, because we've got 2 dogs, and the other dogs, she got a long life ahead of her, I think. But she's not my guard dog, she's just my pet. The one that we're worried we're going to lose one day, she's my guard dog. And I want a dog that will pick up on her traits and follow her lead. So I seen this dog on Buy Swap and Sell on Facebook, and I thought, okay, that looks like a good dog. So I messaged the guy and I'm like, have you still got this dog, this pup? And it's 4 months old. And he went, yeah, and he sent me a message and he said, I said, what breed? And he said, Bull Terrier, Pit Bull, Catahoula, and something else, I think. And I thought, okay, well, the one that we're looking at that has the health issues, she's Catahoula Cross. And I thought, okay, well, we're happy with her breed. So, you know, if we can get another dog with Catahoula in there, they seem like a good breed of dog. And as for the Bull Terrier, I've never owned a Bull Terrier. But I've owned Pit Bulls before. Well, I've owned a Pit Bull, Pit Bull Cross. And he was Tank. That was Tank. And he was one of the most lovingest dogs I've ever had. I bonded with that dog fiercely. He still had puppy brain about him, like he was still learning everything, and we lost him to parvo. We just moved house and he picked up parvo, he got out of the yard, and yeah. We could have fought to save him, but they said that when they tested him, it gave a very strong reaction to the parvo, which means he was well and truly had it. And there wasn't any guarantee that they could save him. So I didn't want to try and save him and have him surrounded by strangers at a vet surgery in pain and without me if that was going to be his last days. I didn't want him. He was too loving a dog to do that to. I didn't want him to feel like we'd abandoned him, and I didn't want his last days to be full of confusion. So we opted to put him to sleep. I felt that was the most humane thing to do. It absolutely shattered my heart to do it. Like I said, I bonded fiercely with that dog. He was an idiot, but he was my idiot. He was one of those just happy dogs that you could do anything with. So yeah, he was Pit Bull Cross. And so this pup's Pit Bull Cross that I was looking at getting the other day. And so me and Mum went and checked her out. It's a little female, and apparently the mother was a good guard dog. I'm like, okay. Has the bull terrier Roman nose, where the nose is sort of curved from, like, you got the top of the head and it just curves down. And the slanty eyes of the bull terrier. She's got the bull terrier face. But she's brown and black brindle with a bit of white on her as well. So, you know, we pulled up and the lady was outside and they were getting rid of her because her and her ex-partner had a split up and she couldn't really have another dog because it was the third dog, and where he'd moved to, he wasn't allowed to have any dogs at all. So, yeah. But looked at the dog, and I actually told them I'd take her. She got in the car with me and Mum. We didn't even get a chance to get out of the car. And she climbed in the car. She was trying to get to Mum, and she was crawling all over me. And they had their other dog out as well on the front lawn, and it was trying to get in the car too. But it had sort of run off down the road, and the pup would jump out and go and follow it. And then it had come back, and the pup had jumped back in the car with us. And at one stage, she got in the car, and she just sat at my feet. And right between my feet. And I'm just like, you just really seem like you're home. You know, I'm one of those people that sort of, you get a feeling about a dog. And she had the most lovingest face. Most lovingest eyes. And I said that we'd take her and went to go get the money out. They wanted $100 for her. And I went to go and get the money out, and because Barry's away, he's sort of trying to survive on what money he's got left at the moment. He doesn't come home for another week. I'm trying to survive on the money that I've got left over from my Centrelink, because Barry's had the past couple of weeks off. So we got a Centrelink payment. And it just wasn't going to be enough with our other bills. So we decided we weren't going to get this dog. And I messaged the guy and I went, look, it's going to have to be a pass. I told this lady that we'd take her. I said, but check the money, you know, we've got this bill, that bill. We thought we'd be right, but we've spent more than what we thought we had. I said, we're not going to be able to take her. So we had to pass on the puppy, unfortunately. But when Barry comes home and he gets paid, because I will want to, the second I pick her up, I'll want to take her straight to the vet to get her parvo shot. And our other two dogs need their parvo shot. I don't think they're due yet. They're becoming close though. So yes, and we've got a power bill that's coming. All that fun stuff. So there goes that puppy idea for the moment. Something else will come along. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of wanted her, but I was willing to walk away if I had to. And turns out I had to, so that's okay. That's okay. What else has been happening? I finished my felting little crafty project I was doing. Put the video up on that last night. What else have I got going on? I've got to get stuck back into my cross stitch of the butterflies so I can do the one of the frogs. I am really looking forward to doing those frogs. So many colours. The felted mushrooms that I was doing, I took them over to Mum's this morning to show, because Mum and Dad love seeing whatever I'm working on. And I took them over to Mum and Dad's. Like, literally, they were like that big, right? Like that big, if you can see. So I took them over to Mum and Dad's this morning, and I'm like, oh, this is what I was saying I was working on, you know. And Dad's like, oh, you got to be kidding me, you know, rah, rah, rah. That was all good and fine. Mum comes out and I'm like, oh, come look at my mushrooms. Mum's like, what mushrooms? I said, you know, the ones I told you I was felting. And I showed Mum, and she put her hand... she does this with all my work. No joke. She put her hand out, so I handed over the mushrooms so she could look at them. And she goes, oh, thanks, darling, I really like them. Where can I put them? And I'm like, they ain't yours. I did them for me, woman. She's like, oh, you're a bit selfish. You walk into my mother's house and that's all you can see is things that I've done. She doesn't really have family photos or anything up. It's all my work. Like, the first thing you see when you walk up onto the veranda is copies of my drawings. You walk in the lounge room, you've got paintings in there from about 20 years ago. I can't even paint. She's got diamond paintings of mine that I've done on the walls. She's just super proud, so I'm glad she is. But I wish she'd stop claiming my stuff. Because you walk into my house and you don't see anything that I've done in my house because it all goes to my mother. I don't get a chance to keep any of it. So yeah, she's just, I couldn't get over it. Just, oh, thanks, darling, where can I put that? And I'm like, it's not yours. Dad's just sitting there laughing at her. She's like, oh, you're a bit selfish. I'm like, I'm not, I made it for me. Go get your own shit. Oh, God. So, yes. And then I had my friend Judy ring me last night and she's like, are you going to bingo tomorrow night? And I'm like, no, I can't afford it. She's like, I'll shout you. And I'm like, no, you won't. And she's like, but I want you to come. And I'm like, fine, you can pay for me this time. I said, but I get to pay you back. No. She always does this. She pays for something and you're like, oh, I'll pay you back. And she's like, no. And I've even tried to pay her back a couple of times and she's like, what's that for? Well, you know, when you paid for such and such. Oh, no, I don't want that. I'm like, lady, you're not made of money. You don't have to pay for everything. But anyway, she's a good friend. So, as soon as Barry gets paid, I'll give her back the money from tonight. Hopefully I'll win something. Last time she paid for me to go to bingo, I won enough. Every time I won money, I'm like, here you go, that can come off my payment to you. I ended up paying her back that night in my bingo winnings, so that was good. So hopefully I'll win enough tonight and I can pay her straight back. But yeah, she's like, you've got to come. Her daughter only goes if I go. Apparently I'm the entertainment. I don't know why. I'm not that funny. It's just little old me. Oh, maybe I should stay home and go to bed. Oh my God, excuse me. What else? Anything else has been happening? What are we at? Oh, we're at 50 minutes. We're almost an hour anyway. Nothing else. I've got another Diamond Art Club parcel due to be sent soon, any day, depending on when they get their stocking. It was pre-orders that I got. Now, I'm going to leave it right there because the dogs have just started going off at someone out there. Righto guys, well I hope you are having a good day, good night, good 2 o'clock in the morning if that's what you're doing, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye guys.